What if I told you that every night while you sleep, your bank is systematically transferring your wealth to themselves through a mechanism so subtle most people never notice until it's too late? The shocking truth is that in 2024, American savers lost $1.2 trillion in purchasing power, not through theft or fraud, but through a perfectly legal system designed 111 years ago on Jekyll Island by 6 men who controlled 1/4 of the world's wealth. Most people believe banks safeguard their money and pay them interest as a fair exchange. They're catastrophically wrong. Your savings account earning 0.5% interest while inflation runs at 3.4% isn't an accident or market force. It's engineered wealth extraction, a slow-motion bank robbery happening in broad daylight with government blessing. In the next 10 minutes, you'll discover how the Bank of England pioneered this scheme in 1844, why it caused the panic of 1893 that destroyed 500 American banks in a single year, and most critically, the 3 specific countermeasures you can implement this week to stop being a victim and start being a beneficiary of the system. Because here's what they'll never tell you in financial literacy class. The rules are written by those who profit from your ignorance, and understanding the game is the only way to win it. Welcome to London, 1844. Sir Robert Peel's Bank Charter Act has just revolutionized British banking, establishing the template that every modern central bank would follow. The Bank of England gains monopoly power over currency issuance, but here's the trick. They're allowed to issue paper money backed by government debt instead of gold alone. For every $100 in government bonds they purchase, they can create $100 in currency, money conjured from debt, with interest flowing eternally to the bank. The mechanism seems innocent enough. Provide currency stability, prevent bank runs, protect depositors. But embedded in this system is a wealth extraction engine that would make medieval usurers blush. By 1890, this model has spread to America through state-chartered banks, and the stage is set for catastrophe. Enter the American economy of 1893. Railroad speculation has created a bubble of epic proportions, with over 40,000 miles of track built in the previous decade, financed by bank credit, created through fractional reserve lending. The banks operated on a simple premise: hold 10-20% reserves, lend the rest multiple times over, collect interest on money that didn't exist until they created it through loans. Farmers, merchants, shopkeepers all deposit their hard-earned money, receiving perhaps 2-3% interest annually. Meanwhile, the banks lend that same money at 8 to 12% to railroad companies, real estate speculators, and industrial enterprises. The 5 to 9% spread between what they pay depositors and what they charge borrowers becomes pure profit. Your money working for them, not you. But the railroad bubble is bursting. The Philadelphia and Reading Railroad declares bankruptcy in February 1893, defaulting on $125 million in bonds. Panic spreads like cholera through the banking system. If railroads can't repay loans, banks can't honor deposits. The National Cordage Company fails in May, triggering runs on multiple New York banks. By June, depositors are lined up for blocks, desperate to withdraw their savings before their bank closes. The banks face an impossible mathematical reality. They've promised to return 100% of deposits on demand, but they only hold 15% in reserves, with the rest locked in failed loans. The equation doesn't work, and it never did. It was designed not to work. Designed to transfer wealth from depositors earning 2% to bankers earning 10% on the spread, until the inevitable collapse when the music stops. May 5, 1893. The National Cordage Company suspends operations, and within 72 hours, the American banking system begins its death spiral. The Chemical National Bank of New York faces a run. 600 depositors lined up by 9 a.m., demanding withdrawals. By noon, the line stretches 4 blocks. The bank holds $2.1 million in deposits, but only $340,000 in actual reserves. Exactly the 16% fractional reserve that was considered prudent and legal. Mathematics doesn't care about legality. By 2 p.m., the money is gone. The doors close. 600 people at the back of the line lose everything. Mrs. Helena Kowalski, a seamstress who saved $340 over 8 years. Her entire life savings, her daughter's education fund, her security in old age, arrives at 2:07 p.m. to find locked doors and a handwritten closed sign. She collapses on the bank's marble steps. The scene repeats at 491 banks across America in 1893 alone, not over years but within months. The panic accelerates with terrifying velocity. Western banks fail first. Then Midwestern, then Eastern financial institutions topple like dominoes. Credit evaporates instantly. Factories can't get loans for payroll, so they close. Unemployment hits 20% by August. Nearly 3 million Americans jobless in a workforce of 15 million. Those still employed face wage cuts of 30–40%. The railroad companies that borrowed so heavily begin failing. By year's end, 156 railroads representing 30,000 miles of track and $2.5 billion in capitalization go bankrupt. Here's the mechanism of destruction. Banks created money through loans, fractional reserve lending, paying depositors 2% while charging borrowers 10%. When borrowers defaulted, the banks couldn't honor deposits because the money was never really there. It was an accounting fiction. The 8% profit spread the banks enjoyed for decades reversed into catastrophic losses. But notice who suffers. Mrs. Kowalski loses everything. The factory worker loses his job. The farmer loses his land. The bank president? Many reorganize under new charters, having paid themselves handsomely for years with the wealth extracted from depositors. The system doesn't fail for everyone, just for those who didn't understand they were the product, not the customer. Now fast forward to March 2023. Silicon Valley Bank collapses in 48 hours, the second largest bank failure in American history. Why? The exact same mechanism. They held long-term bonds paying 1.5%, while owing depositors who could withdraw any time. And when interest rates rose to 5%, their bonds crashed in value, creating the same mathematical impossibility as 1893, assets worth less than liabilities. Then First Republic Bank fails in May. Then Signature Bank. 3 major banks in 8 weeks representing $532 billion in assets, gone. The FDIC intervenes with bailouts. But notice who gets protected. Not you, the depositor earning 0.01% in your savings account, while inflation runs at 3.4%, creating a negative 3.39% real return, meaning you're losing purchasing power faster than the 1893 depositors did. Your bank, meanwhile, borrows your deposits at essentially 0% and lends them out as mortgages at 7%, credit cards at 22%, personal loans at 12%. The same wealth extraction spread that existed in 1893, just with bigger numbers and better PR. The Federal Reserve's own data reveals that in 2024, American banks earned $329 billion net interest income. That's the spread between what they pay you and what they charge borrowers. That's $329 billion extracted from depositors and borrowers, functioning as a hidden tax on your wealth that nobody votes on. Since 2008, the Fed has kept interest rates artificially low, ostensibly to stimulate the economy. But the real effect is transferring wealth from savers to borrowers and banks. Your savings account earning 0.5% loses 85% of its purchasing power over 30 years at 3% inflation. You're being systematically impoverished while being told you're being prudent. The same playbook from 1844 London. The same crisis from 1893. The same victims, you, unless you understand the game and play it differently. So how do you stop being the victim and become the beneficiary? 3 specific countermeasures starting now. First, eliminate cash holdings beyond emergency reserves. Become an asset owner. The system punishes savers and rewards owners. Keep 3 months of expenses in high-yield savings. currently 4 to 5% at online banks like Marcus, Ally or Wealthfront, not the 0.01% your traditional bank offers. Then convert everything else into assets. Banks can't debase dividend-paying stocks in companies with pricing power, real estate generating rental income, treasury I-bonds that adjust for inflation, even Bitcoin as a portion. If you understand the volatility risk, the wealthy learned this in 1893. Those holding cash were destroyed. Those holding productive assets survived and thrived. Your savings account is a melting ice cube. Stop adding to it. Second, become a strategic borrower at fixed rates. Use the bank's weapon against them. If banks profit from the spread between deposits and loans, position yourself on the borrowing side for appreciating assets. Lock in fixed-rate mortgages while rates are still reasonable. 30-year fixed means you're borrowing today's dollars and repaying with tomorrow's inflated cheaper dollars. The borrower wins during inflation, the lender loses. Use 0% promotional credit card offers to finance short-term business investments or purchases you'd make anyway, paying them off before interest kicks in. Free money. The system is designed to transfer wealth from depositors to banks. Become the one using bank money, not storing your money in banks. Third, automate the arbitrage. Build systems that profit from the spread. If the bank earns the difference between deposit rates and lending rates, create your own version. Peer-to-peer lending platforms let you be the lender earning 6-12% instead of the depositor earning 0.5%. Rental real estate lets you collect 8 to 12% returns instead of bank savings rates. Dividend growth investing provides 3 to 6% yields that grow over time instead of stagnant interest. The mechanism is simple. Stop being on the losing side of the spread and position yourself on the winning side. Mrs. Kowalski died poor because she saved currency in a bank. The bankers who failed in 1893, many reorganized and prospered because they understood the system. History doesn't repeat, but if you don't understand it, it will crush you all the same. Subscribe now because next week, we're revealing the Federal Reserve's hidden reverse repo facility, where banks are earning 5.4% risk-free while offering you 0.5%, and the legal loophole that lets you access those same rates they're keeping from you. The game is rigged, but once you know the rules, you can win. The choice is yours.